There's a lot of things that I don't get to show you in videos in order to make sure that I can get everything done in a timely manner. The main example is a while ago I started this industrial district, and since then it's expanded a whole bunch to include a moss farm, a honey farm, and even an iron farm way over here. I also bet you guys had no idea about the redstone farm that I use. And most recently, I've built a frog-light farm in the Nether. But all of these things go towards builds and things that I actually need to utilize. For example, most recently, the frog lights have gone to this lovely little patio to make all of the lamps sprinkled around here. This is a really nice little area just outside of the office building that has picnic tables, benches, and trees, just to kind of lighten up the place and be a good outside space for people to work. I especially love the custom trees that I've made with fences and moss. This was something that I had the general idea of using fences and moss from other people, but I actually constructed the trees all on my own, and I'm super proud of how they turned out. As for things that are actually going to get done in this episode, all of this area with blue concrete, I plan on turning into nice like trails through a nice little forest area. I still wasn't sure if that meant making the entire area flat, but I do feel like that will hopefully make things just feel more like they're connected to an office building, more professional. Because of that, though, I am going to have to make things a little bit more messy in terms of plants and stuff, just so it still feels natural. But here you can see the current layout for the path system. It's a very simple path, but I just wanted to get the layout down first, so I knew where to build each of the little structures and plants around that. The main structure in the center is going to be a large tree with a nether portal in the middle that paths from both sides will be leading to. And that's what I need to work on right now. I think one of the things that makes these more natural builds so much more fun is because I've never done anything like it before. These trees over here, as well as this massive tree, were really difficult to get just right, but it makes me so much happier when they come together exactly how I imagined them. I also have so much more other natural stuff over here to do that needs to fill up the entire area that I'm planning. For example, I have ideas for really dense forests like this. I also have ideas for cool bamboo areas and seating places, as well as trying to figure out every type of tree and shrub. I have all the ideas planned, now it's just about finding what fits together and perfecting all the little details. I wanted to give an update on how things are going. I kind of have three and a half parts done. The first one is this nice simple pond that leads to a creek that will go somewhere else. The second part is this really cool forest that I'm super happy with. I'm really happy with the way these cobblestone wall trees turned out, and then just the messiness of the forest with the stones, the rocks, moss all over the place looks really nice. The third area is this bamboo. You can see we kind of carry the messiness with the bushes, flowers, and grass, but you can also tell it kind of feels different. And then the last area, which I just started on, I'm working on still a little bit, is a garden with a hut, some bench, and it'll have more flowers and things to kind of feel like a more closed off area with the hedge surrounding it. But I obviously have a lot more room to do a lot more things and kind of sprinkle around more different varied areas into the rest of the space. And after a lot of hard work, that entire forestry area is finished. And before we move on to the villager building, I just want to show off all the little details that you might not necessarily notice if I didn't point them out. So you can really clearly tell that it's split up into 4 sections. There's more of this gardeny area here as it transitions nicely into the bamboo area, into the more spruce, even though they are really cool cobblestone trees, and then nicely back into the super messy, flowery birch forest, which I think is probably my favorite area just because of how messy it is, how many details it includes, and yet how they all work really nicely together. One of my favorite details is if you listen closely, you should be able to hear some birds chirping, and that's actually, I made a quick custom music disc that is playing. And that just adds so much to the scenery, the vibrance of the place, and I think it's really cool. One of my favorite parts is like a still shot right here, where you have the nether portal, the pond, and trees in the background, but then the massive skyscraper hidden, like protruding in the back, and I think that looks really cool. And it should look really cool on this side too, when we have the villager building also over the top. And it was a really good idea that I planned all of this out beforehand. I went into a creative testing world and worked with one of my friends to plan everything that I was going to do. I did run into a few hiccups, like I didn't have the corners planned at all, but that all worked out. What I was really impressed with was the fact that it didn't take that long to collect all the materials. I've been playing in this world for long enough that even the things like sand and gravel that I definitely did have to go out and collect didn't take very long. But like end rods, which I would normally expect to take a really long time, I had all of the materials, or at least the materials were easy to get to make plenty of end rods. And so that was just super cool to see that progression and the real effects that having all of this stuff accessible makes building anything so much more convenient. From this perspective, I really like the building. The colors nicely match the rest of the building, and the walls don't look too flat because they're all just a little diagonal. From the other area, though, my picturesque kind of scene, that isn't the same case. Looking at it over the tree line, it does look too flat, and I feel like I'm going to have to add some kind of other part to the structure to make sure things look more in depth. I already had the inside of the villager building planned out, however, though, so I went ahead and put that together. And thank goodness it actually completely gets rid of that flat feeling when viewing it from over here. I don't know if it's just the more details inside or the fact that there's all those lights, but I mean, thank goodness that it all worked out because I was not ready to have to plan and build a whole nother section on the side of this building. Whenever I work with villagers, I always feel like I've come up with some special way that's going to make working with them so much easier, and then they always just prove to be super frustrating. But I'm pretty confident in this setup. It should be pretty simple of just all you have to do is flick the lever, decide which way the villager is going to go, and then once they're in the right spot, once the track's lined up, the activator rail will push them onto the correct block and get them trapped into there. Despite having confidence in this, just from past experience, I kind of expect this to be frustrating nonetheless. Okay, here we go for the first one. Our goal is to get him into the far bottom corner, and I think it should be pretty straightforward, but you never know with the first time. Oh, there we go, right into position. I thought that had failed for a second, but we're all good. I will admit, I was surprised a little bit that it all went so smoothly, but everyone kind of just got into position. Activator's rails worked perfectly. Until, as you can see, we might have had the very last villager might have had a tragic death. Obviously, we have plenty more floors to add, but for now, the fact that all the librarians are in here is an absolutely awesome start. And the infrastructure is in place to very easily fill up the rest of the floors, which is super convenient as well. Before we finish up, I really did want to talk about this block a little bit because I haven't really had the chance to this episode. As you can see, we've filled up most of the block with this blue energy, but there are a couple more pieces that we need, it looks like, to power the entire thing up. I was doing some research online and couldn't find anything at all about what the block could be about. But then I came over here and I realized one of the things I haven't really investigated is in this original monument thing that appeared, it has a bunch of skulk everywhere. And I have never been to the deep dark in survival Minecraft. So I'm a little nervous to go visit, but I think what we need to go there to find that last piece of energy and power it up. So that is currently the plan for the next episode. Visit the deep dark and try and find that last piece of energy. It's pretty crazy, though, to look at what we've done in this episode. At the beginning of the episode, this half of the base was built. And in all of this episode, we've done the second half of the entire base, which is totally crazy. For me, it's been 7 months of work. And so when I've all put it together and it's 10 minutes of footage, is so weird. But I'm so happy with how it turned out, and it's so worth it, the amount of work that I put in, because I'm so proud of what the final product has turned out to be. With that, however, we're going to be bringing this episode and even this part of the series to a close. I really hope you guys all enjoyed, and I'm very excited for what the future has in store, and I hope you guys are excited well. Thank you guys, everyone, for watching. Can't wait to see you next time. Have a good one. Adios.